A very good morning to all our dear listeners who are tuned to Radio Sri Lanka for an interesting episode of 11th Hour. E-commerce marketing is an actionable tactic to drive more sales. Every online store wants to increase traffic and conversions. However, even if a basic strategy is laid out, certainly there could be challenges to decide upon the most appropriate marketing tactics that requires adaptation. To speak to us more on these lines, we have invited the founder and the chairman of Kapruka, Mr. Dulith Herath, to Radio Sri Lanka to 11th Hour. A very good morning to Mr. Herath.
Good morning, Sabrina.
Let's start off with the questions because there is quite a lot of information to speak to you with regard to e-commerce. So my very first question to you, turning online attention towards into an offline sale. What are the theories adapted by Kapruka to activate customers to engage in a digital transaction?
So in general in e-commerce, the main driver is the price. Okay. Because now let's say, for example, if I'm going and buying, let's say, a wristwatch at Odell today. Odell may be buying it for $100 and selling at $150 because they have so many overheads for, from the security guard to the premises to the marketing and all that. Right, but look at an e-commerce company like Kapruka selling the same watch. I also buy it at $100. I don't have to sell it at $150 because this is going to sit in a dusty warehouse, but there'll be a glamorous picture online. I'm just selling a picture, right? So I can sell it for $125, right? So what happens is people go to offline places. I took Odell just as an example.
Just as
right?
an example.
But
True
if you walk into any kind of a mall, somebody will pick up that watch, look at it and go online and order from Kapruka or some website because of the price. Because it's the same product. And this happens all the time.
And
so
why pay more?
Why pay more? And because, so now that's the question. Now about 5 years back, you would still want to go because you were not sure whether you're going to get that watch. What about the after sales service? You have all these worries. But that's gone now. When you are ordering black shoes size 12, you are going to get black shoes size 12.
Identical item.
Yes, identical item, because now the service levels are up to that mark. But now we are really working on making that last mile experience, the doorstep experience, the after sale to be improved. Right. So as I said, this is really price driven primarily. Then secondary, it's service driven. When you get the price and the service right, e-commerce is a no-brainer.
And also to speak a little more on those lines, I think the trust, once it's been built, you're sure of getting that black shoes.
Yes. And as I said, there is so much of margin in e-commerce compared to retail for that same watch. Now, if you complain and say, look, this doesn't work, this has some problem, I'll be happy to jump in and replace it for you because I have margins to do that.
And isn't it also the assurance that the customer has with regard to that so-called online store?
Correct. And this is where companies like Amazon has really thrived because they were, even they're paranoid about giving an excellent service. Like, for example, Kapruka Customer Care has an unlimited budget for taking care of problems.
Really?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now, don't abuse this.
That's where my question was like, really?
Yeah, right. So, even if you feel like the customer is sometimes unfair, we always give the benefit of the doubt to the customer because we have the margins to solve that problem.
As once again, I'm bombarding with more and more questions on the same lines because, Mr. Herath, this is a fact. There's nothing to hide about this factor that people tend to think, are we really getting the original product?
Right.
This could be a fake. That kind of impression does creep into a consumer's mind because certain organizations have worked in that manner, unfortunately. So that is where I guess Kapruka takes the entire responsibility of providing. So
I'm glad you brought that up. So there are really three types of e-commerce platforms in the world. One is a marketplace model where you are selling other people's inventory. And then there is the used marketplaces like, places like Ikman and Top Jobs and, the classifieds that you are really selling used goods. And then there are places like Kapruka where we own the inventory. So when you buy a watch from us or when you buy anything from us, I have it in the stock. I have imported it or we have purchased it directly. It's our product. So we can take responsibility. Right? So that's the difference between really, platforms and
Once
shop.
again, a strategy for people who are planning on investing on an e-commerce platform, I guess. Go by these theories so that you're very safe and your hands are clean.
Right.
Moving on to my second question. Latest shopping trends such as shopping-related research. The best platform to research on, is it applicable to resource for information within our country or is it most effective linking it to an international online store-related market so that it gives a different online shopping experience for the consumer?
Oh, definitely localize. There is really very little you can take by looking at trending data in the region or globally, because having access to what's happening online through Google search and multiple tools is very straightforward now. I can in 5 minutes, without paying a single rupee, can find out what people have searched for in Colombo or in Dehivala or in Vellavatta or in Kurunegala specifically, and change our offerings accordingly. So this data is, I know last week we looked at how many people are searching for saris, right? And then found out, people are searching for saris and also lehenga, all different terminologies that even we didn't think of. Do you know for a day, about 900 people search for babat and namak? Okay,
Really?
Simply. I just give you a simple example. This is about not e-commerce, but about selling a service. So my marketing team comes and says, so shall we start a service? Simple, baby naming service, because there's 950 people searching for Baba Nama.
Why not?
Yeah, so your question about, global data won't make sense there. You have to really localize it. And there are plenty of free tools out there for small entrepreneurs to figure out what people are searching for. So oximeters these days is like, we knew about this 4 weeks before the demand came, because we saw the oximeter word keep trending up on Google in Colombo, right? So we managed to get the stocks, get the pricing right, get everything ready 4 weeks before the demand actually came.
4 weeks prior.
Correct.
So speaking about these resources and the consumer's approach in purchasing things online, what I really wanted to know was, Mr. Herath, like should it be a very glamorous web page? Because people tend to expect some kind of a classy web page when you come out with a strong brand like Caproca, but as you say, localizing it is more vital, because end of the day, whether our people who browse the network, that is the Sri Lankan community majority of course, and then people who are based overseas. So are you all focusing mostly on a user-friendly platform, or is it something that has to be on par with one of the main web pages?
Right, I understand. So you are asking about whether the glamour of the website matters or the usability matters.
Does it also necessary for an e-commerce platform?
So it depends on how established your brand is. Now, if you go to eBay, it looks like crap. Right? I mean, it's really not that well designed.
Not
it's
at
been
all.
like that forever.
True.
But it makes 1 million transactions a minute. Right? So if your brand is very established, don't worry too much about really trying to make the whole thing glamorous. Make it usable, and don't pull the rug under your current users. They are so used to that. We have couple of customers who can place an order eyes closed. So I don't want to go and change the structure just because I feel like it needs a facelift. You have to do this step by step. But if I'm starting a new Caprica from today, from scratch, yes, I will put all my guns on design and make it extremely glamorous as possible, because nobody knows about it. When they come in, they should feel like, oh wow, what is this?
That was my point.
Right. So, but if you're like walking into today a singer, you're not going to check out the store. It's a singer. You're going to go and look for that blender, right? So that's the thinking behind it.
Very interesting. Moving on to my next question. Could you summarize how your store is planning to achieve its goal and improve its position in the current market?
So number one, again, we want to be extremely price competitive. Right. I don't want somebody because my competition is not other e-commerce websites. My competition is actually the retail store. Right.
Mainly that is
my competition. A lot of people ask me, Dulith, who's your competition? I'm like, all the shops that you passed on your way here. That is my real competition. So price is number one. And then the second is really the choice. I want to give a huge choice, and because unless you have, now let's say you come to buy shoes, and if there are only 200 shoes, why can't I give 20,000 shoes? right, online. That's how, because I don't have to even physically have a large stock. I can at least have 5 pieces each and still manage this, because this is not a mall. I don't have to show you my entire collection. I can have 5 pieces each.
Not necessary,
right? So the second is the choice, and the third is really, I want to create a wow factor during the delivery process. After you actually press that checkout button and enter your credit card, what's going to happen in the next 2 days? Are you going to blindly wait for a phone call from a delivery rider, or are you going to getting alerts? Are you going to get live tracking saying, okay, your delivery has now left a warehouse in Vattala. It has 6 more drops before coming to you. Now you are at the 4th drop, you are at the 3rd, 2nd, next is your drop, and the doorbell rings. You get the product, you get the survey about reviewing the delivery. You're unhappy with it, you make one phone call, the guy comes back, picks it up, does a replacement the next day. That's my happy journey. So the giving price, choice, and wowing the customer is the mission at Kapruka.
I think you have been very successful as well. So that says it all with all the consumers who keep shopping with Kapruka. So let's listen to some toe-tapping music. Back to Mr. Niranjan and back to the show.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Yes, we've got some lovely music coming up, and enjoy the music we got for you.
Kiss me on a Monday, a Monday, a Monday is very, very good. Or you can kiss me on a Tuesday, a Tuesday, a Tuesday. In fact, I wish you would. Or you can kiss me on a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, and Saturday is best. But never, never on a Sunday, a Sunday, a Sunday, 'cause that's my day of rest. Come any day, and you'll be my guest. Any day you say, but my day of rest. Just name the day that you like the best. Only stay away on my day of rest. And if you make it on a bleak day, a freak day, a weekday, why you can be my guest. But never, never on a Sunday, the one day I need a little rest. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Come any day, and you'll be my guest. Any day you say, but my day of rest. La 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 la. And if you make it on a bleak day, a freak day, a weekday, why you can be my guest. But never, never on a Sunday, the one day I need a little rest.
Siddhalepa Turmeric Ayurveda Wound Gel with turmeric and neem. Heals cuts, wounds, burns and skin rashes, removes scars. Ayurveda Wound Gel from Siddhalepa.
Dum dee da da dee da 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 dee dum dum. I wish I could play piano with both hands, so I could play for you. My one finger symphony that I just wrote, to show my love is to sure my love is true. If only I had a million violins, I'd have them play it too. My one-finger symphony that's from my heart, that I wrote for you. You're pretty as can be, so my little symphony fits you like a glove. Every little note I play tries very hard to say that you are my love. Though I know Debussy, I have done my best to prove my love is true. The one-finger symphony that's from my heart, I dedicate to you. One-finger symphony that's from my heart, I dedicate to
The time moves on to 11:17. Yes, we are in the 11th hour, and back to the very interesting conversation Sabrina's having with Mr. Herath. So back to you, Sabrina.
Thank you so much, Niranjan. Yes, we did enjoy the music. And then moving on to my next question, Mr. Herath, since we are in conversation with the founder and the chairman of Kapruka today on 11th hour, often the perks of entrepreneurship are glamorous, but there are instances where entrepreneurs are challenged and certain areas of business gets beyond control, such as errors during the process of being successful, such as the incident when Kapruka was inquired from the Consumers Authority that the essential goods over the internet was sold for more than double the rates.
Right. So you rightly said it, every entrepreneur will have to go through ups and downs. If any successful entrepreneur comes and says, look, I have no scars, I have no downfalls, there's something wrong then. I mean, every time you fall and if you get up, you're a stronger person. So what happened during the COVID time? One, yes, we had made the mistake of not reducing prices according to the Consumer Authority's retail prices. It was simply impossible to actually sell products for those prices online. Like, for example, if I walk into a restaurant today...
During that time?
Yeah. If you walk into a restaurant today and ask for a water bottle, the water bottle says 115 rupees on the bottle, but when they open it and serve it to you, it's maybe 200 rupees because you have to have so many overheads to do this.
Even though it's labeled as 150.
You can't do it when you are doing a service. You can't. Those prices are for somebody to come and pick it up from a shop. Right? But if you have to deliver a product home and do all these things, it's not possible to do it. So what we corrected ourselves by saying, okay, if you are buying, I can't sell you one water bottle, you have to buy at least 5, and there's a delivery fee separately. We corrected it. And the important thing there was for us to still take some level of responsibility in accepting, yes, there was an error. We accept it. That being, now I gave you the defense story, right, about the water bottle. But can I tell this to the whole country when everybody was depressed with the whole COVID down? So that's why I shut up and wait for a whole month. We did not respond at all. But I took the responsibility and corrected it. And actually we removed some of that stuff because it's not possible to sell it anymore. Now today, Laughs has pulled out of the market because it's not possible to sell it at the government proposed prices anymore. Either you do
Classic example.
Yes, or you walk out of it. So some products that we've done that. But the important thing is every entrepreneur will have to go through that. And when you are successful, there will be a hate group. No matter how the bigger success you are, there will always be a hate group. So an entrepreneur has to operate.
How do you respond to these, Mr. Herath?
Well, actually, if you are smart enough, you can turn a controversy into a branding campaign. Actually, that happened to us, whether we like it or not. We were, even if you ask for an older lady, a grandma in Trincomalee today, what is Kapruka? It's like, remember that salmon case? Like, it has created a hype.
Yes, of course.
But you have to navigate it very smart when dealing with controversies, and there's a huge component of luck involved. You can completely mess it up if you use a controversy in a wrong way. But for us, actually, it has worked in a positive way.
So it's accurate decision making
and patience. Most importantly, rather, mostly it was attacked at me. It
of
came
course, yes, the finger was pointed at you.
Right. And I could have had hundreds of excuses. I can look, I am the chairman, I don't know the pricing, there are 5 different people doing this pricing, I don't go and check the every little. I didn't say any of that.
We actually saw only you.
Exactly. So it was like a parent in trying to protect your child, is your brand. And the principals here, like the parents goes on forward and tries to defend the kid. That's the kind of thing that you saw there. I could have easily walked out of the room. Like, you guys deal with it. I don't know about it. I didn't do it. So
every press media that covered, I still recall you standing with the Consumer Authority. So
right.
I think that was it's a very powerful image, and I still remember.
And it gave me so much of now thick skin today. The whole country was laughing at me for about a week. My closest friends to everybody was doing that. And the fact that I survived it and sitting here talking to you like this.
Very casually
about it and very open about it. Tells me like, I can go through anything now.
You actually prompted me to inquire.
Ask me about it. Because some of the people who interview me like very shy and don't even talk about it. I'm like, look, ask me about the controversy. Why are you asking all the success? What about the failures?
Failures are necessary as well for you to stand up once again more stable.
Right. So next time something goes wrong, I will be able to handle it better than a competitor or better than another company because I've gone through this before. Right. Sometimes like a pilot who has crashed a plane, he's not going to lose his license. Actually, he's going to get a badge if he survived and, he's going to fly back.
Wonderful words and a wonderful explanation, true enough. And moving on to my next question, launching a business and watching the clients connecting is an exciting part of being an entrepreneur in this e-commerce platform. But this is exactly where entrepreneurs run into issues unless you focus on growing by keeping the sustainability in mind. Please explain your point of view on same, Mr. Herath.
Right. So your question is about how to get it wrong for entrepreneurs when they're over-excited about e-commerce. Is that right?
Somewhat may in those lines, yes, exactly.
Okay. So I think the common mistake is people go by transactions. They think, how many orders we got? How much money we got today? Yes, but what about your bottom line? What about your margins? You need to operate and you need to make this sustainable. So don't get blinded by just sales. Okay, and that is why even up to today Kapruka is debt free. I never borrowed a single cent. I have no investors. I built this from scratch from just $500 laptop, right? That's because I was not hyped up about the transactions. I was actually going about the profitability and the sustainability of the company. That's very important. And I think it's very fair to ask for a 5 to 10 year plan from any entrepreneur.
True.
Because your core business is going to grow smaller and smaller in margins as you grow your business. So right now, today, I'm working on new projects that will probably make sense in 5 years to me. Right now, it looks like a stupid idea, right? Like, for example, let's say I want to start an online car wash. Right? It has nothing to do with my core business. But unless I think about that now, and focus on that today, because in 5 years, my core business is going to get more and more difficult for me, right? It's going to get tougher and tougher. Margins are going to be thinner. The staff's going to be bigger. Then I better have that car wash ready to go on. So I think entrepreneurs need to...
You saw my eyeballs going up as well, no, Mr. Herath?
So there are a lot of unrelated stuff that, like for example, out of the controversy, the sold out was my tag name, right? So I registered soldout.lk and I'm actually going to do a classified website on it. Used goods.
You got a free brand name.
I got a free brand name. So that's another, futuristic thing.
Another venture.
So there are about 9 ventures like that I've already gone through, and there's about another 15 now in the pipeline that I'm working on, which are very futuristic, has nothing much to do with my core business.
Wonderful. I think we will have to definitely invite you once again to speak about the 15 which is being kept under the pending mode. Moving on to my very final question, Mr. Herath. How do you see the future of this online selling approach in Sri Lanka? It's been promising so far, but the forecasting from your perspective, please?
Yeah, so you don't need to, check in the mirror for this. It's obvious that e-commerce is going to be the predominant thing in the world in the next 5 years. In Sri Lanka, it's less than 1% of retail today, but in another 5 years, I think it's going to be more than 15% easily.
Less than 1%.
It's less than 1% today. Even though we are all hyped up about it, if you take the entire market today, we are less than, even in the US today, it's only about 30%, less than 30%. Right.
So we are not that bad then.
Yeah, so 1% still, right? Yeah, but even in India, it's about 5% still. So this is so much to grow. But let's say if I take another industry, like let's say petroleum, or if you take an auto industry, you can't grow those because those have, it's at 98% already. This has, the canvas is right open. When I see a 15-year-old kid on the road, I look at him like, hey, this is my future customer. This guy was almost bought with a smartphone in his hand. He's not going to go and shop in the shops. In 5 years, he's going to buy everything online. So I better be ready with my business for him, right? Not for the guys like me who are older and it's not for him. It's for the guy on the road, with the smartphone walking around.
And I think this pandemic and the so-called unexpected situations
accelerated things by 5 times.
So that 1% gives us this whole 9 yards for us to rethink on these lines. So your forecasting should be on these lines. I think it's a very, very valuable point.
Exactly, and especially because the consumer market is aging. And as I said, that 15-year-old, every business should look at a 15-year-old on the street and say, look, this guy is not going to come to my shop when he's 20. He's going to look for my products online.
Do you think people in Sri Lanka are a little hesitant to take this risk of e-commerce laying out a platform?
No, not really. I'm seeing like for example, I'm doing this grasshoppers thing where we are doing e-commerce delivery. So I am seeing people are mushrooming into e-commerce, and you don't need to have a Facebook. You don't have to have a website now. You can just do entirely your entire operation on Facebook and Instagram, and just close your deals on WhatsApp and messaging systems. And
it has come down to that level.
Yeah, and because I have single entrepreneurs who are doing 50 orders a day, and it's only him and his products. Right, and for him it's a 200,000 rupee net profit business. So he quits the job and does this.
He or she has a revenue.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to have a website and payment gateways and all these bells and whistles.
So do you see a growth since lately? I mean, not only huge, it's massive.
Yeah, because people have so much of time and they have pet projects. Especially younger generation, they are not sticking to these 8 to 5 jobs. They have multiple things that they want to try. Right, so at 5 o'clock when they come home, or now they're at home all the time, they tried side businesses. And
any particular group, that age group that you have come across that who is very keen about this kind of marketing?
Actually, there
strategy?
are a lot of 16-plus-year-olds who are doing phenomenally well, because that is the new model of me, right? I'm an old car now, and when I see a 15-year-old guy on the road, I'm like, hey, that is the new Tesla. He knows better than me how to do this, and I've seen very young guys coming in and thriving.
So you are more than happy to work with people who are more younger?
I love to take a back step. I mean, I know my time is going to be over. Unless I let them into the boardroom, my company will suffer. Right? I need to walk out and let them run this one day.
Words of wisdom, of course, and it was a very interesting conversation. Wish we can extend the hours of 11th hour, but unfortunately, we will have to conclude the show. So e-commerce marketing is the practice of using promotional tactics to drive traffic to an online store, converting that traffic into paying customers and retaining those customers. A sound marketing strategy can assist to build brand awareness, drive customers' loyalty, and ultimately increase online sales. So thank you very much for being a part of 11th Hour today, Mr. Dulith Herath.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'm certain that most of our listeners did get a broader idea about e-commerce by now, and I feel that some might even start their own web page very soon.
That would be my wish. Yes.
So we will hope for the best. With that, signing off, I'm Sabrina Zawahir, off from 11th Hour.